It's your boy King Leo here, back with a new video. It's been some months, and I decided it's time to come back because one of my favorite shows is back, and that show is 60 Days In. We're down to season 6 of the new of the show. Last time I reviewed it, I reviewed season 5. Then we had a little spin-off in between called 60 Days In Narco Land, but we're gonna act like that didn't exist because that was just a waste of time. So I feel like, we got this new season. From the trailer, it looked like they're really making up for the lackluster last season. And I'm really looking forward to this. We're going back to the traditional format, putting 7 civilians inside these prisons. And that's the way it should be. They shouldn't mess with the format. It's been good all this time. So let's keep it the same. So, this season, we're in Etowah County, Alabama. And there's a new sheriff in town, literally, and his name is Jonathan Horton, and he's taking over. The last sheriff was there for 12 years, left in a little controversy, maybe embezzled some money and stuff. So this man's coming to clean up the place. It seems like it's a hot mess there. So one of the first things he does is he searches the prison, which hasn't been searched in 3 years. And the place is overpopulated. Let me mention that. There's one officer to every 110 inmates, so that's just a mess right there. And there's no barriers in the pod 2 between the COs and the inmates, so they're just exposed right in the open. So while they're searching this prison, they find so much contraband. He says over 5,000 pounds, which includes narcotics, weapons, just things they're not supposed to have. So you can tell that this place has just been running amok, and they've just been letting them do whatever they want to do. And the doors to their rooms don't even lock. And I don't know if they broke them, if some kind of malfunction, but these people just go in and out as they please when it's supposed to be locked down. But there is no lockdown because their doors don't even lock. So that's a mess right there. So we get to meet our 7 participants. We got 4 men, 3 women, and they meet with the sheriff and his crew so he could train them and get a sense of them before they go in. So the 4 men we have is Alex. Alex is a college student majoring in political science, and while they talk to them, they want to know, some of them, they don't ask all of them, what's their story, why they in jail. With him is he was on his way to a vacation in Florida. He was driving past the county and they got stopped and they found cocaine in the car, and everybody in the car got arrested but sent to different jails. So that's his story. They tell him he looked really nervous, he's fidgeting a lot, that he can't do that in jail. Next we have Jacob, and Jacob is a correction officer, and he think he's gonna be able to do it. He's a correction officer, so yeah. So next we have Matt. He's a Marine. He's also a super fan, and his story is that he got a DUI. Then we have Dennis, and he's a former college football player. He just seems really cocky. When they ask him what his story is, he goes, "I don't want to talk about that right now." And I'm like, you had to be different from everybody. You could have just gave your story like everybody else, but you want to try to act all big and bad. He's going at one point talk about he thinks one of the chiefs is intimidated by him, and he beat up people like that. I'm like, he just going in with the wrong attitude. If he thinks he's going to go in this prison and run things, because this prison looks like no joke. So I can't wait to see him taken down a notch once he gets in there. So after they do that, they decide to give them some physical training, self-defense, because this is a dangerous place and a lot of physical activities happen. After they do this, they decide, okay, we're putting one of you in jail right away. Like, there's no going back to the hotel. We're going to take one of you right now. And they decide to take Matt, the Marine. They feel like he's most ready. So they take him. He's a little shocked. He said he has to call his wife. He tells her. He's a little nervous, but, he's just ready to get it over with. Now we meet the 3 women. We have Ashley, and she's a cop and National Guard. But the story she's telling people that she's just a National Guard. She don't want to tell people that she's a cop because of leaks that's happened in former seasons, and she know being revealed that she's a cop in jail wouldn't be a good thing. So she just telling them she's a National Guard. Then we have Jennifer. She's a born-again Christian. She lived a life. She was a rebellious teen, underage stripper, alcoholic. Now she ministers. She's turned her life around. And the CEOs really like her energy, her mannerisms. And they say it look like she's ready. Then we also have Shanice. Shanice is an at-risk youth. She works with at-risk youth, and she mentioned that she wasn't really a fan of law enforcement, but she's grown to respect them because she needs them, especially in her line of work, because sometimes these kids can get rowdy, and she has to depend on law enforcement to protect her and help her. So, these women have makeup on, and they say you can't go in there looking pretty like that. This ain't that type of place. This ain't for TV. This is real jail. It's also 12 pods in this jail, but it's only one for females, and it is so crowded because that's just for the females. And they said actually that one pod has more fights than any other pod. It's just crazy in there. So they also tell them that one of you is going to jail right away, and the person that they choose is Ashley, who is the cop in the National Guard. And she like, can I take my makeup off? She goes take her makeup off. She looks really different. She don't look hard like she belongs in prison, but she don't look all pretty and glammed up, which is good for her. And the next scenes we get are the people that are going in jail, going through intake and just preparing to get sent into the jail. The process is very long. One of the guys is in intake for about 9 hours before he actually gets to go in his pod. And then Ashley, when she goes in there, she talks about how lackluster the searches were, how they didn't check her mouth, they didn't check her bra. She said she's giving better pat downs on the side of the road, and she was like she could have brought in things she wasn't supposed to bring in. Even when it was time for her to change into her outfit, they let her change privately. She could have took her bra with her, which she didn't because that would be contraband. But she basically said it wasn't that good of a search. They basically could have brought what they wanted to bring in there, which is not good for the safety of the participants. So we have those two in, and eventually those two get in their pod, and it's crazy. And there's big people screaming. There's all kind of mixture, especially with the women, because there's only one pod. So you're in there with women of all kinds of offenses, from women that have committed murder to women with petty crimes, and they separate them with color. I think like the people with the higher crimes had like a pink shirt on. I can't remember, or orange. Next person to come to the jail is going to be Jacob, and Jacob is the corrections officer, and he just looks really nervous the whole time. And by the time he gets in there, he goes through the whole process too. Same thing, same kind of search. They don't search him too well. They put him into the little cell, which is waiting for him to go into the big pod, and you can tell he's really nervous. It's not going well. And then eventually Dennis, the cocky guy, he comes and he sees him in there, and he's like, he doesn't look good at all. He's sweating, he's drinking water, he's using the bathroom back and forth. And they told him at this point, when they were training them, they was like, you can get the signal to leave any time, which was the Pledge of Allegiance, or you could say, this pod sure is crowded. But they said you can't do it in intake because you're not technically in jail yet. So how are we going to take you out of jail when you're not even in jail yet? This man is freaking out. He just can't take it. He don't even want to go into jail. He's given the signal already, and he's not even processed to go into jail yet. And that's how the episode ends. And then we get a preview for the rest of the season, which looks crazy. It's so physical, so much screaming, so much yelling. We also look like we're going to have some tension between the inmates, between the guys, between themselves, and the women between themselves. So this is looking like a real interesting season. They have a lot to make up for with that last season. Season 5 of the regular format was pretty good. And, I feel like this one is going to bring it too. I'm looking forward to it. 60 Days In is one of my favorite shows. If you have been watching, if you just happen to come across this review and this sounds like a show you want to get into, I suggest, you should watch the show. The show is so addictive, and you'll like it. So this is your boy King Leo. Make sure you check back every week for a review and subscribe to my page, and I'll keep these reviews coming. I'm out.